y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, and if you're not new, girl, welcome back. So I know it's been a minute since the last time we had a little chit chat. I released a podcast a while ago, y'all, and I gave y'all the first episode, and I kind of just went ghost. So everybody's like, girl, where's the podcast? When are we getting another episode? Like, we're tuned in, what's going on? And we're back, okay? We're back, and we're back better than ever. So this is going to be episode 2. I guess we could kind of say episode 1. But yeah, we're going to call this Poolside, not Bedside, okay? And as y'all can see, I'm definitely not in Houston, okay? So right now I am in Hawaii, and your girl is on vacation, okay? So I asked y'all to send me some questions. So we have some questions, and we're just going to jump straight right into it, okay? So let's see. And as y'all can tell, I'm going to have some background noise, okay? Because I'm at the pool, so I couldn't completely just shut the whole outside world out. I did get a cabana so I could be a little bit more private, but y'all, I'm still outside, okay? And let's get straight into the first question. So the first question is, how important is it to have a social life outside of nursing? How do you balance it? So if you know me, then you know, okay? I am very, very, very serious about having a social life, separating the two, okay? So I think it just kind of depends on the type of person you are. I've always been active. I've always been energetic. I've always been on the social scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always been an outside girl. So me becoming a nurse, honestly, it just kind of amplified that because I just had a little bit more money to do what I had already been doing. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like having a social life is very important. Being a nurse, you're working in a high stress environment. It's just kind of depressing. I don't know if y'all have seen, but I always hear about the suicide rates with people who work in healthcare. It's just a lot. You know, we see a lot. We're exposed to a lot, and I feel like it's very important for us to take care of ourselves so we can take care of other people, okay? So how can I take care of you if I'm not taking care of them? If I'm not taking care of myself, okay? That just really doesn't make sense. What is this noise behind me? Y'all, it's all kind of noise out here. But how do I balance it? So as far as balance, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I feel like my social balance is up here and my work balance is down here. So it's like I always go to work, but then I still am always somehow partying. Like, I really don't know how I do it. I'm always tired, but then I'm not tired. I don't know how to explain it, but I definitely think I do a really good job of balancing the two. Sometimes I think I party a little too much, but you know, I'm in my 20s, like I'm 27, like I feel like if I'm gonna party, the time is now. So, yes, next. What route did you use to become a nurse, and what are all other alternatives? So for me, I went to a 4-year school. I went to Southern University and A&M College, and they have a 4-year bachelor program. So that's the kind of the route I did. However, there's many other routes. I tell people all of the time, if I didn't want the college experience, I feel like I could have done a 2-year program. A lot of people do an associate's program, which is great because you can go to school in 2 years, still make the same amount of money, and then you can more than likely go to a hospital that's going to pay for you to get your BSc, and you can do a bridge program. What else? I mean, they have the LPN route. The LPN route is great because the program doesn't last long, and you can still always do an LPN to RN bridge program. And I'm trying to think what other programs they have. I mean, there's so many different options. I always hear a lot of people like, well, I'm not a nurse now. I went to school for psychology, but now I'm thinking about going back. Y'all, they have an accelerated BSN program. Like, you can always, I feel like nursing is so versatile. Like, you can always go back. So, it's definitely lots of options if you are interested in nursing. And I tell people, like, nursing isn't for everybody. However, I just feel like it's very rewarding, if that makes sense. What are the pros and cons of working bedside? Y'all, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, there's more cons than there is pros, but we'll go through the pros. So, pros of working bedside. I have a 12-hour shifts, which is great. 3-day work week, which is perfect. Typically bedside, you typically make more. So your money is always the motive. So that's good. And then when it comes to your experience, so I feel like you get the best experience when you're working bedside, you know? Like, I feel like you're not going to get any better experience than, you know? So I feel like that's good. Cons. Let's get to the cons, because there's many, 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 many cons. Um, Cons to working bedside. Staff drama. Y'all, it's always some drama. Like, it feels like high school all over again. Like, I feel like working in healthcare gives high school. I think management can sometimes defer people from wanting to work bedside. Um, what else? I mean, there's a lot of cons to working bedside. I'm trying to think. Um, Flexibility. So the only thing with working bedside, I feel like your flexibility is not the same as if you were working, like, um, just a regular specialty job. Bedside is not going to give you the same flexibility. Like, it's not. What are the other cons? I don't know, but I feel like if I was to work strictly bedside, I would want to do travel nursing, or I would want to do be a PRN princess. Like, I feel like if you're a nurse and you're a PRN princess, or you work travel, like, I feel like you're not as miserable as the rest of us who are working like staff. Like, right now I'm staff, and y'all, I'm very stressed out. Okay, it literally stresses me out. So anything but staff. Okay. And I definitely think that everybody should start working bedside in the beginning, just for a little while at least, so you can get your feet wet, you can get very comfortable, you can kind of get acclimated to nursing. Like, I feel like everybody should kind of, start off bedside. Okay, and the next question is, how long have I been working bedside? So I've been working bedside for 4 years. I started off, I tell y'all my journey all the time. Everybody's always intrigued to hear about it, because they be like, girl, you just be doing anything. I don't know if y'all could tell, but I am super stuffy, okay? Like, very stuffy. I've been sick the whole time. The pollen is tearing my ass up. My mama has her dog here, and my allergies, they're not agreeing with me. So I've been working bedside for 4 years. I started off at the ER in the beginning. As a lot of people don't know, I was a tech in the ER for 3 years while I was in nursing school. So I teched in the ER for 3 years, worked in the ER for 4 months as a new grad, stopped working there because I was so depressed, so stressed, picked up a travel assignment, which I don't recommend, worked a travel assignment for 8 months, took a break, started off in an assisted living facility. I did that for like a year, and then I started working in med-surg, which I've been doing for about 2 years now. So that's my story, and I'm kind of ready to leave bedside, but I'm trying to figure out, like, what's next. Like, what are you going to do next? Like, I need a plan before I just jump off and I'm like, I'm leaving, I need a plan. So I just kind of haven't decided what I want to do next. Okay, advice to a new grad nurse who is just starting her career. I think my biggest piece of advice is, you're not going to know everything, okay? Take a breath, breathe. You're literally not going to know everything. In the beginning, it's going to feel very overwhelming. You're going to literally feel stupid, okay? I remember as a new grad, y'all, I used to do some of the stupidest things, and now I look back and I can laugh. But at the time, I would literally go home and cry about it. So I think the biggest thing is just to, like, give yourself some grace. Like, everybody's been in your shoes. Everybody kind of knows what you're going through. And just give yourself grace. Another big thing that I always say with new grads is, you don't have to start off in med-surg. A lot of times people try to tell you to start off in med-surg, get your foundation, all that, which is great. Med-surg is a great foundation. However, you don't have to. If you know you want to be an L&D nurse, go to L&D. Like, you want to be in the ER, go to ER. If you know you want to be an ICU nurse, go to ICU. Like, don't let people try to put that stigma in your head that you have to do med-surg first. Because although it's beneficial, I don't think it's a requirement. And the thing is with nursing is every specialty is different. So if I was to go and work in a different specialty, I would probably feel like I'm a new grad nurse all over again, because I would not know a thing. And that's normal. Like, it's literally normal. Okay. How to prevent burnout. So I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I'm starting to feel like I'm burned out now, and I'm kind of just like, what do I do? Okay, I'm burned out. I don't feel like I'm in a place right now where I need to be leaving bedside, but I'm also not wanting to be bedside. So it's kind of just like, what do you do? I think some good things to prevent burnout is, it's like, yeah, you want your money, but you have to have some things that you enjoy to do in your free time as well. Like find some hobbies, hang out with your friends, just do things that make you happy, you know, and you have to relax. Like, I feel like I'm not one of those people who really, I don't relax like I should. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm in the house, I'm like, girl, I'm ready to go. Like, let me go to lunch, let me go to get a drink, let me go to the mall. Like, I just hate being in the house, but I love being at the house at the same time. Doesn't make any sense, I know. But I feel like the biggest way to prevent burnout is to have things planned. So, like, right now, it is in the middle of the week. I'm in Hawaii, and I'm not bedside. You see what I'm saying? So you have to do little things. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my last day before I left, y'all, I would have quit. I would have quit if I had enough money in the bank. That's how over it I was. But now, you know, I'm in Hawaii, I'm seeing views, I'm sitting poolside, not bedside, and it makes it all worth it, okay? So the biggest thing to prevent burnout is that you just have to find something else to do with your time. You can't think about work. One of my biggest things is leave work at work. I don't do it, but I definitely highly suggest y'all to leave work at work. When you come home, girl, forget the hospital. Don't even be worried about what's going on. Okay, this is a good one. Okay, how does it feel to constantly receive backlash for creating relatable content? You know what? Let me tell you something. In the beginning, I used to really care. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I have anxiety, and like seeing how people used to talk about me on social media and kind of drag me for just like being myself and being who I am, y'all. It used to literally drive me crazy. It used to drive me crazy. I would call my brother, I would call my mom, and I wouldn't say I would cry, but I would definitely read through the comments, and I would start trying to like, you know, analyze who I am as a person, and you know, and it would really kind of get to me. But I'm trying to get more to enough space where I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because people are always gonna talk. Everybody has opinions. Like everybody's gonna talk, and half the time the people are talking are in a very much worse situation than you are. So I think you just gotta be you. You have to be you, be yourself, and just kind of just do your thing. I feel like a lot of the times, even with my content, I could be a lot farther if I would just stop worrying about what people think. And I don't even know why I even care, because if you know me, you know I don't care. So it's just like, why do I not be consistent? Why do I not do what I'm supposed to do? The world will never know, but we're working on that. That's something that we're working on in 2025. Oh, the little baby, the little baby. So let's go to the next question. But it definitely doesn't feel good. But I can say there's more yays than there are nays. So whenever I do create the content that receives the backlash, that receives the negative people, like the nurse hate train people, there's the nurses who always agree. I'm gonna be honest, the nurses are always on my side, and that's who I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for the girls, strictly for the girls. That's it. And the girls that get it, and the girls that don't, they don't. They just don't get it, and they probably never will. Okay. If you didn't go to nursing school, what would you be doing now? If I didn't go to nursing school, y'all, I'm going to be honest. I always wanted to be in fashion. So if you know me, you know I used to have the boutique in college. My mom used to have boutiques when I was in school. She had 3 boutiques. She had one that was like a standalone store, and she had 2 in the malls back in Mississippi. So it's like fashion has always been my thing. I won Best Dressed in high school. You know, so I always wanted to be in fashion. But that kind of wasn't realistic for me. My mama was not trying to hear that. She did not want to hear nothing about me going to school to be in fashion, which is kind of bad, because it's like, girl, let me be me. But yeah, I probably would have done fashion, and I've always wanted to be a lawyer too. So I would go back and forth between fashion law, fashion law. Um, yeah. And then I have another question. I might as well go into that one too. It's like, how do you think you ended up choosing nursing? And I'm going to be honest, y'all. I've always been really, really good in science. So I've always been really good in science. My mom was trying to, I'm gonna be honest, my mama really encouraged me to be a nurse. Her big thing was that she wanted me to be, substantial on my own, not really needing anybody for anything. And her big thing was like, okay, if you want to do fashion, you could always do fashion. Like, you don't have to have a degree to do fashion. And if you wanted to be a lawyer, you could always go back to law school. So she was like, I think you should do nursing because, you're good in science, you're a people person, and, she was like, I just think it would be a good fit for you. And so I'm glad I did, but sometimes I wish I would have, kind of stuck to what I wanted to do. What kind of schedule do you work that allows you to have so much free time? I think I kind of answered this one. I work 3 days a week. Sometimes I pick up. It's rare that I pick up. I'm supposed to be picking up now, but I'm actually about to call in. So, hey, I don't know. But I work 3 days a week. So typically how I make my schedule, like if I'm doing something like this, like right now I'm in Hawaii and I'm not even using PTO. So this is girl math, okay? Nurse math, girl math, all the same thing. So how you do it is, so last week I worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, okay? Last week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. My next week, I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So in between, I'll have I think it's 8 days off in between without using PTO. So that's a little trick for my nurse girls or healthcare people. If you want to have, a good stretch off, you don't want to use your PTO, that's how you should make your schedule. Okay, this is a good one. This one's a little spicy. Okay, people are always saying that nursing is an aesthetic. Where do you think that concept has come from? Let me tell y'all something. If you've ever worked a 12-hour shift in healthcare, then you would know. You would absolutely know that nobody is doing anything for a freaking aesthetic, okay? Nursing is probably the most least aesthetically pleasing job there is, okay? Like, we might make it look cute, you know what I'm saying? We might get on Instagram, get on TikTok in our fake scrubs, y'all might see the little Beamers, the Mercedes, the bust downs, the 30-inch bust downs. But y'all, let me tell you something. That job is the most least aesthetically thing that there could ever be, okay? Like, I mean, the things that we see, the things that we hear, the way we're treated is honestly kind of insane, okay? So for people to think that people are doing this for the aesthetic, and if y'all only knew how hard nursing school was, y'all, I struggled in nursing school. To think that someone thinks that I went through all of that trauma for an aesthetic? What aesthetic do you all speak of? I've always been an aesthetic prior to nursing. Even when I don't have a dime in my account, I'm still that girl. So I'm just confused as to what aesthetic that y'all are discussing. And I think a lot of it stems from jealousy. When it comes to women, I think a lot of y'all want the lifestyle. And when it comes to men, I think a lot of y'all are mad because the nurse probably broke your heart. And I think that that's just kind of what's going on. So the aesthetic that people tend to think of, it's really crazy to me. And if anybody deserves an aesthetic, if anybody deserves to act like a certain way, it's nurses. Because we're literally the backbone of healthcare. We're the backbone of hospitals. We're doing everything. The doctors are not the ones who are constantly coming in the room. It's the nurses. It's the CNAs. That's who's working hard. So if anybody deserves to, you know what I'm saying, be a little flashy, put it in their face, it's nurses. But I could talk about that all day because be for real. Be for real. How is dating life being a nurse? Y'all, let me tell you something. I am so over men, and I don't think it's because, I don't know what it is, but I'm over men. Like, the whole dating scene is just kind of redundant. You know what I'm saying? It's the same old shit. And I just feel like, as of now, when it comes to dating, I feel like a lot of men, oh my gosh, the car alarm. Oh, did they get it? Yeah. I feel like for me, for instance, I feel like I'm a very outgoing girl. I've always been outgoing. I've always been extremely spontaneous. I've been a wild card, and I've always thought I was the shit. My whole life, I've been the same exact way. So I feel like for me, guys are kind of intimidated. I feel like I used to tolerate a little bit more bogus behavior from men before I was a nurse. And it wasn't that I was didn't think more of myself, but the thing was, it's just I definitely don't need anybody now. I don't need anybody for shit. You see what I'm saying? So it's the things that I tolerate from men are less. I feel like men don't like dating nurses. They say they like nurses. They say they like smart girls, but they really don't. Because a smart girl, we don't have to depend on them, And so I think that really drives their male ego to the point where they can't tolerate it. So dating life, being a nurse it's not great. It's not great at all. And I think it has a lot to do with social media and the stigma they put on nurses. Like, it's such a negative connotation when it comes to nursing. They always say nurses are so promiscuous, that nurses break your heart. So it's kind of just like putting this predisposed thought in a man's head before they even meet you. Like, once they hear that you're a nurse, they're like, oh my gosh, she's a nurse, like another nurse. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, but it is what it is. How important is it? Oh, this is the same question from earlier. So that was a question that we already read, but I'm just going to kind of free ball and give a couple of extra questions, only because these are questions that people have been asking me. So a lot of people have asked, how is it being a nurse in Houston, and do I like it, and do I recommend people moving to Houston for nursing? So this is my little spiel when it comes to being a nurse in Houston. So Houston has the largest medical center in the world. That's number one. Houston is known for their healthcare. They're known for providing just like anything, you know what I'm saying? Houston is known for healthcare, okay? No doubt about that. But I think people are starting to see a lot of things on social media that makes them want to move to Houston. And I'm going to just be real with y'all. The jobs in Houston are kind of like scarce, okay? Even when it came to me moving to Houston, y'all, it was so difficult for me to find a job. And I think people are kind of like misinformed because they always say, oh, they need nurses, they need nurses, they need nurses, which is true. There's a nursing shortage. They do need nurses. However, people are looking for experienced nurses. I tell people this all the time. There's a shortage of nurses, but there's an increased need for experienced nurses. So whenever you're a new grad, of course, you're still a nurse. You still have your credentials. By any means, baby, you got your BSN, your RN, you passed NCLEX. But they have to train you. You see what I'm saying? And I don't remember, but somebody was talking to me and they were telling me that to train a new grad nurse, I think it might be anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000. So you're an investment at this point. You're an investment, and the retention rate for new grad nurses is not good. So basically, the hospital doesn't want to spend any more money, okay? They don't want to spend money as is, so they definitely don't want to spend money to train you, okay? A lot of times when hospitals say they need nurses, they want a nurse who's experienced and who can like start working, and that's just kind of it. So a lot of people want to move to Houston. They see Houston as like a party scene. They see like everything that's going on in Houston, and they ask me, they're like, what are your thoughts? And I'm going to just be honest. Have a job before you move to Houston. That's my biggest piece of advice that I can tell you. Have a job, because y'all, when I tell you, it's very, very, very difficult. I know seasoned nurses who moved to Houston, and it's difficult for them to find a job. So I would keep that in mind. And yeah, ultimately, I feel like Houston is a great place for nurses, but just like anywhere else, like it's starting to kind of become saturated because social media has kind of pushed people to move there. Thank y'all so much for tuning into this week's episode of The Nurse Diary. As always, thank you so much for your support. We definitely have some big things in store. We're going to have some special guests come. Make sure you leave me some topics, some questions that you would love for me to cover in an episode. And as always, thank y'all and love y'all.